Hey X Dancers, Anthony and Rose. We're doing some awesome fun West Coast swing today. We really like this pattern, but we wanted to do it in front of this beautiful Christmas tree here in the Woodlands. We did this last year, so we're having a little tradition going on. We really like this pattern and we hope you enjoy it, so stick around.
Even though we don't get snow, I still think it's the place to go, where the weather outside doesn't get frightful, it just stays warm and delightful. That's Christmas time of day.
All right guys, we really love this pattern. This one's really cool, but it's surprisingly easy. If you're new here, we teach all forms of country dance, West Coast swing, waltz, two-step, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. So beautiful. We're gonna demonstrate it and then we're gonna break it down.
All right guys, here's what we're teaching today. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we'll show you that again from the other side. It's basically a whip pattern with some illusion turns. There's your whip, there's the illusion turns, and then an anchor. All right guys, we're gonna break this down one piece at a time, but along the way, you're gonna notice we actually send you some links. This is kind of like a dance scavenger hunt. So we've taught a lot of the elements in this pattern and other things before, so if you want a better description and breakdown of those things, we'll just like link to it in the cards. We'll actually put it down in the description too. But this is essentially just a whip pattern. It's gonna start like any other whip, except for we're gonna make a hand change on count 2. So we're bringing her towards us for 1, and we make that hand change from my left hand to my right hand. Now it is still her right hand. Now here from the whip pattern, she normally does a back together forward. She's still gonna do that. I'm gonna ask for that hand underneath for 3 in, and I'm gonna get all the way out of the slot and face the side on count 4. So if you watch that from this side, that's 1, I switch the hand, 3 and 4. Okay, so count 4, I've gotta get all the way out of the slot, and I'm prepping her body because the next thing she's gonna do is she's gonna be turning to the right. So like any other thing, I've got to prep her to the left. That's too much, but I'm exaggerating. I just want you to see that on count 4. So if you watch this on count 4, we have 1, 2, 3, and opening her body for count 4. Now my left hand is pretty close to her side because the next thing I'm gonna do, my footwork is still 5, 6, just like a regular whip, but I'm bringing that hand over top for 5, 6, and then we have our anchor in place and we'll finish, okay? So let me show you those hand connections close up. All right, so we bring your hand with a little bit of a J hook on count 1, and on count 2, I'm gonna switch to that right hand. Now from this point, I'm still sending her out for 3, and as I come around her, and on count 4, I'm actually turning and I'm asking for that hand underneath. The hand has to go underneath, guys. It cannot go over top, it will not work. So if we watch that again, that's 1, I switch for 2, 3, and I'm asking for that hand underneath. All right guys, this is essentially just a whip pattern. If you want a breakdown of the 4 sections of an 8-count pattern, that is here, okay? That is gonna break down a lot of this conceptually. But if we talk about this conceptually, it's 4 sections, 2 beats of music. She comes towards me, she comes back, something happens, and then it's anchor. So for the first 2 counts, I bring her to me and I switch hands. Now from here, we have a she comes back for 3, and I start bringing her back for count 4. Then we have the something happens, which is the turns, and then we have an anchor. Those are the 4 sections of 2 pieces of music. Really, if you haven't watched that video, definitely watch that one and breaks everything down because everything will make a whole lot more sense as opposed to thinking of individual things, okay? So the important things that we have here in the first 2 counts, she comes towards me, but once she gets over here, I've got to let her know that she's coming back. So there has to be some amount of leverage. Now we talk about this in a lot of things, but if we have leverage where she's leaning away from me, and a basic whip that happens at that end, but it also happens over here. So if you watch in a basic whip, she gets in that leverage, but now she has this leverage on this side, like we're leaning away from each other before I bring her back. That still has to happen in this pattern, even though we're not in the same basic dance hold. But we're gonna go 1, 2, 3 in. Now she's got some leverage where she's leaning away from me so that when I step around, she knows that she's coming forward and I prep her body. From here, this is just those wrist clips or illusion turns. So she's gonna come over top twice until we finish and we do the anchor in place. Now, if you want a breakdown of those illusion turns, we got a really good breakdown of those that are right here, so we're probably not gonna get to a lot of detail on those. I will show you those close up in just a second, but for the most part, learn those illusion turns because it's just this, and you just do that in other things. So actually, let's just show you that close up. All right, so she's got 3 in, she's leveraged away, and then I step in, and then I prep her. From here, her hands are gonna go over top of her head just like a normal illusion turn or wrist clip, and then it's gonna switch over top once until I bring both hands down. Let's take this one piece at a time. I'm bringing her towards me. I'm switching the hand for count 2. She's already starting to rotate. Her momentum is still moving in that direction. Now she's gonna continue to move in that direction for 3 and. Now here you're starting to feel some leverage. This is actually the point where she starts to feel that leverage, so that when I actually come back around, she knows she's coming forward and I've opened up her body in that prep. From here, leaders, you've got to be completely out of her way. Like if you are not out of her way, she's gonna run through you. It's gonna be your fault. She's not gonna like it.
Not too much.
So you think about, and we talk about this, here's another video here, West Coast Swing Basics. We talk about the different circles, but essentially the followers have 2 circles. She's gonna be in this circle, or she's gonna be in that circle, and she's just traveling back and forth between these 2 spots, while the leader has 3. In between her 2 circles, there's one in the middle, and then I have one on this side and one on that side. Leaders, you gotta know which one of those 3 circles you're gonna be in. You're just stepping from those 3 places while she's moving from these 2, okay? So she's in that circle, I'm in the center circle. I've got to step out to the side, I switch the hands. Now I'm all the way on this side for 3 and, but now I got to get all the way over. I skip over that center circle to get all the way here. This gives her the path. If I'm all the way on this side, it gives her this line, right, that she's going to need, so I can stay there until she comes out. Now it's really important that you give her that path. This is her slot, guys. It's not yours. You get to share it with her. Sometimes she allows you to do that, but ultimately this line belongs to her, and sometimes you get to get on board with her, but ultimately you got to get you out of her way, because it's her way, not yours.
I love that.
This is life, right?
Learn that.
So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's a prep. We come over top for 5, 6 leaders, 7 and 8.
And followers, make sure that you get weighted back on that anchor and carry your body weight through that. You're not gonna have a traditional anchor step where you're gonna do a triple. That's gonna be fully in your body coming forward on 1.
We have to talk about the difference between an anchor and an anchor step, because a lot of people get those 2 things confused. You always have to do an anchor, but you don't always have to do an anchor step.
Yes.
Okay? So let's talk about what an anchor is. An anchor is essentially there's no movement and we have stretch. That's an anchor, right?
Boom, done.
If you think of like a boat going down the river or whatever, and you threw an anchor over, like there's motion, and then you throw that over and it weights it back and it stops the motion, but there's also the weight of the anchors here, the boat's still trying to pull, so you have this stretch. So we can use that as an analogy. So if we're here in this position, this is an anchor step, But an anchor step is just one of many ways to create an anchor. I don't have to do an anchor step. I literally can just stand here without taking steps and get that same stretch either way. That's what we have to do at the end of every pattern. We don't always have to do an anchor step, but we always have to do an anchor. So she's actually, at the end of this, probably not going to be able to do an anchor step, but she still has to do an anchor, all right? So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So notice she just kind of settles into that, and we create that stretch because we need to use that for whatever it is that we're doing next, okay? So anchors are important. It's one of the core elements of West Coast Swing. You've got to do an anchor. You don't always have to do an anchor step.
Right.
We can go off, we can go down this rabbit hole for hours, but if we did an anchor step, that is one way to create an anchor, but we could certainly go to the side. We can do anything that we wanted to do as long as we can create that stretch with absence of movement, okay? So
The intention.
let's show you this one piece at a time and break the whole thing down. So we have 1, I switch the hand on 2, she's still moving back. We create some stretch here for 3, and I get all the way across and rotate to the side, bringing both hands up. I'm doing 5, 6, she's kind of doing a triple step, and then she does an anchor as I do an anchor step. We stretch, and then we can do whatever's next, okay? Guys, we really want to help you guys as much as we can. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below in the description, because we do read every single comment. We reply to as many people as possible, pretty much everybody. Like if you just hate the video, comment that, at least tell us why. Don't just say we hate you guys, whatever. It doesn't help us help you, help us help you, right? So
Absolutely, we want to help.
but thank
We're
you
here to
guys so
serve.
much for watching, and we'll demonstrate this music a couple times, and then we'll see you guys next time.